Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. Did you get different flavor?
True.
Good morning and welcome to the show.
Today we are going to be talking about growing together or growing apart.
Ooh.
So I titled it, "You're motivated, but your partner is okay being just okay?" Question mark.
You going up, but your partner wants to be average.
Want to stay cozy down there?
As Boogie likes to call it, average.
Is average. You want to be average? Oh, there he is, the potato.
The potato
The
man.
potato boy.
Who wants to go up?
Who wants to get better? Who wants to improve?
Drop that
Who
comment.
wants to be better? Who wants to be more?
Who wants
That's
to
a very
be
vague
more?
question. More.
Who wants to
What's
go
more?
up? Who wants to go up? Who is going up?
I think self-improvement encompasses the upness that we are talking about.
Yes. By the way, for public accountability, so yesterday you guys have asked for the money mentorship. We are already in the process of developing it. Yes.
Can you turn that light?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And I gotta tell you guys that, for one, I'm so humbled and grateful because it's what's interesting is that I remember that, you know, when I was growing up, when I was asked, what do you want to be? I was the kid that said, I want to be an astronaut. But I was always an astronaut. Like, in the sense that I always had big ideas that were like, I was the quiet child and I was just like in my own world.
Dreamland.
Yes, I lived in dreamland.
Sarit's Disneyland.
Yeah, and my mom was like, you said you wanted to be an astronaut, but you acted like an astronaut your entire life.
Up in the clouds.
And you know, and then I would sometimes get asked, if there was one thing that you would never want to do for sure, what would it be? And I'm like, being a teacher. So now,
which is ironic.
Yeah, now my mom is a teacher. And my mom is an incredible teacher.
She's a really great teacher.
She is so good at engaging.
Ani. Say it 10 times. Ani רוצה. Ani רוצה. Okay, say it 10 times.
She's
so good.
So my mom is an incredible teacher, and I think subconsciously, seeing how she does what she does so well, I developed this gift called teaching. However, I think I love teaching. Like, I'm a teacher, right? Like, we teach health, wellness, self-development, and we're gonna start teaching money, which is incredible. So like, it only keeps on like magnifying. But I think the reason why I hated teaching so much, and it's interesting because Rob Kiyosaki said the same thing.
Oh, you're right.
It's teaching under what circumstances?
It has more depth. It's leading,
Yes.
while teaching,
Right.
rather than just teaching information. You're not actually leading. You're either giving information, or you are giving the information while you are leading people to understand and practically apply that information. And some teachers are really great leaders, and some teachers just give the information and then their job is done.
Yeah.
So I think that depth is what you appreciate. I wanted to be a police officer and a firefighter.
Why do you think? To service?
Does it surprise you? Does it surprise anybody?
Why do you think that?
Think what?
Because you love to serve?
I think I wanted to be the one that people looked to for their, I think that this is funny actually, to save people, but I am saving people from themselves.
Right.
Police officers and law enforcement do sometimes save people from themselves in certain instances, but most often save people from other people.
Yes.
And I went to school for nursing, and when we did clinicals, I soon realized
that is so true.
This shit is not for me. Why? I don't want to help people when they're already sick. I want to help people not get sick. I want to be before the shitstorm happens so that the shitstorm doesn't happen.
There are a few people that I can think of right now that you have like saved. If Erin has saved you, please drop a comment. Like Mel, you saved Mel from, I mean, it's crazy where she's at
Jerry,
now. Like
Daisy, so many, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Mel wanted to run away. And
but that's why you saved her.
I grabbed her by the back of the shirt and I said, no.
That's why you saved her.
Come back here.
I don't think... Jerry and Daisy came to us wanting to be saved.
It's a team effort. It's a team effort. But it's kind of crazy talking about it now.
But it's interesting because, you know, I found that I'm truly passionate about teaching. Anything that I learn, I'm just like, okay, I want to regurgitate and I want to teach you guys and I just want to add value. Like all morning this morning, that's all I meditated about. There's already a curriculum for it. It's crazy.
You already wrote it?
Yeah.
She blows my mind. She's just like, she'll go in the corner and just not say anything. And then like an hour later, she's like, I wrote a book.
See?
Yeah, nobody can read that but you.
Right.
It's a secret language.
But you guys, the mission unfolds and we're going to help you in so many ways. And, you know, if somebody would have asked me 3 years ago, like, you're going to be helping this many people and you're going to be doing this, I would have said, bullshit. But imagine, like, 3 years from now, like, how big this movement is going to be.
We've done this in 2 years. And you know what? Actually.
And I'm not saying this to brag.
No.
I'm saying this in order to inspire you so that you, right, in relation to the first question that we had, if you're going up, once you commit to something and you make a decision, literally anything is possible.
What is happening here? Look at this. What is going on? Wow.
Jerry just voxed Erin and said, you saved me.
All right. So there was something that I was going to say, though. Now I don't remember because I was really distracted by my hair and I'm not even going to fix it.
That's why when you have an idea, you need to write it down. And that goes for you guys, too. When you have an idea, you need to write it down.
I do need to fix because it's hitting me in the face. But what you were just talking about your curriculum.
Yeah.
And what else were you talking about?
When you have an idea, you need to write it down.
No, before that.
I said, whatever we just said, make sure to apply it for your life.
What was before that?
I don't remember. Jerry said that you saved her.
You know when you start taking, giving somebody else responsibility for your thoughts? What was I thinking? Help me remember.
So today's Relationship Thursdays, and we will be talking about you being a high achiever, and in the case that you're dating, what do you do in the case that your partner is okay being okay? So for one, since this is a relationship conversation, drop a comment and tell us what is your relationship status. Are you married to your dog? Are you in love with yourself? Happily in a relationship?
Single,
complicated
married,
in a relationship? Happily married?
Swinger. I mean, you don't have to go that far, but
In a relationship with a few people?
that's the same thing, right?
Engaged. Congratulations.
Congrats. That's not even
Russ Yeager in the house.
Russ, what's up, brother? Hey, whoever watched the pitch off, Russ was the man up in there.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Get it done,
dude.
baby. I love it.
Man, a duo sometimes is better than a uno.
Russ, we need to have you on our show.
That actually sounds like something Grant would say.
I'm going to contact you. Single learning to love me. Man, that is so powerful. So here's the thing. If you don't love yourself, you're never gonna be in a successful, happy relationship. So Stephanie, thank you for mentioning that, because that is super powerful.
I also saw something else that was in a relationship, currently separated, couples counseling. I have a question, because that's a very common thing. So I'm not going to single anybody out, but I'm just going to, in broad spectrum, say that this is not a real percentage, so do not take my word on this, but I'm going to make some shit up. 90% of the couples that break up and get back together and break up and get back together will never be happy together. Because you never change anything when you get back together. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So, the couples counseling thing is like we're making an effort to change something, right? But you also have to ask yourself, where am I headed? What is my future for myself? And one of the very frustrating things for me is when we allow people to hold us back because of what they will think of what we do.
Oh.
What they will think about how we want to live our lives and what would fulfill us and make us the happiest, and they're not supportive, or they make you feel bad about it, or they question you to where you question yourself, or they say, no, you can't spend money on that, when you know it's going to fulfill you and it's going to feed your soul, make you a better person, improve you, grow you. You're letting somebody else dictate how you live your life. And that's really hard for me, because I did that and I felt really bad for working out because I wasn't spending time with the person that was my significant other at the time. And I was like, wait a minute, this just isn't right, that you're going to make me feel bad. Has anybody been in that situation where you've been made to feel bad for doing something where you're taking care of yourself and trying to better yourself? Or maybe you invested some money in yourself to improve yourself, and then somebody made you feel bad about it. Mm-hmm. I think it's really common, and it's important to understand that we all see the world through a different lens.
Yeah. And
the way we perceive things is going to be different than the way somebody else perceives things. And in their world, it's right. So who are we to say that it's wrong? We might just be too different to be together. And it's really big of an individual to be able to recognize that and then say logically, not emotionally, we do not see things the same way. And if we can't see things the same way, we are not going to work, period. It never will, no matter the amount of counseling that you do. If you're not able to see eye to eye or put yourself in that person's shoes, understand, respect, and support them being who they want to be and doing what they want to do, it will never work. I'm not even seeing the comments. I'm just seeing that there's a lot coming through.
So the ones who became recently single, especially like our inner circle people,
yeah,
they're just talking about all the positives that have happened
since they've left the baggage?
After releasing from the leash, unleashing themselves. It's incredible. So
I was actually joking with our friend Nicole yesterday about Join Erin and Sarit. They're going to make you break up with your significant other. It's not the truth. We're not here to tell you what you have to do. We're here to provide insight so you make the best decisions for your own life. And we're going to give you our honest, most radical, transparent truth without sugarcoating it or being sorry about it. And you can take it or you can leave it. That's it.
This was for Emily.
Fly away, baby.
Yes. So it's so true. Step number one, and again, I will not consider myself a relationship expert based off of courses that I taught. Everything that we talk about during our relationship conversations is strictly based off of our life experience. So take it or leave it. Obviously, if you're listening to the show, we're very grateful because you're probably finding some value in it. And our main objective and intention is to provide nothing but value and truth, even if it's raw and unscripted and you hear Boogie snoring in the back. So, you know, and taking it back to my journey too, and you just said that, and that's just going to reaffirm. And, you know, for those of you guys who either became recently single or who are new to the community and you're working on yourself, if you are on a quest to get yourself to #relationship goals, you have to work on yourself first, and you have to learn how to love yourself. Exactly how Stephanie said it. Because if you don't learn how to take care of yourself and how to love yourself, then you're never going to be able to fill somebody else's cup as much as you're actually capable of. Yes, you'll be able to do so, but not to your greatest capability.
Somebody posted a photo the other day, yesterday. I don't know if it was yesterday. I see things, I don't know when they're posted. I do my best to keep up with y'all. You're crazy. But it was two people, and they both had battery packs on their backs. And the person with the red, like only one line of battery left, was giving a white one to the person who was only missing one thing, right? So it's like, oh, let me give you something that you already have more of than I do. When I'm running low, clearly, but let me give this to you anyways. It's like, we do that so many times. It's like, we have nothing to give, but we're still trying to give.
Yeah.
You gotta do you.
So rule number one is that, you know, if you want to go up, and if you're listening to the show, then chances are that you're that kind of person. Like you said, like, you have to recharge you. You have to take care of you. And
shout out to Daisy for the pick.
And you have to be really good at it, because otherwise it's like you giving battery juice when you're running on an empty battery. Like, how much is that going to fulfill the other person, help them out, support them, whatever? Now, of course, we all have those days where our battery is not filled up to our potential, but yet, like, you have to think about, you know, the grand view. Like, do I want to charge my do I want to live in a state where my battery, for the most part, is charged all the way up? Or do I want to be giving, like, half of what I got? Like, think about using your phone, for example. When your phone gets to 10%, like, especially if you have an iPhone, that shit goes from green to red. When you're on that red, you get to, I don't know about you, but like with me, I'm like, oh shit, let me go find the charger, because it goes from 10% to 1% real quick once you get to that 10%. Like, you don't have much to give, but like when you're on the green, like, you're using your phone more. Like, let's say if you were to hop in a conversation when your battery is on 10%, you're probably like, okay, let me plug it into the charger real quick so that I'll be able to be in a conversation. That's just an analogy, but, you know, for those of you guys who are currently in a relationship, you know, the first thing that you have to identify is what is my intention with regards to this relationship? Greatness doesn't happen by default. It happens by design. And you can never design what you want to create if you are not being intentional. So rule number one, like, what is your intention? Is your intention to be in a relationship, to say that you're in a relationship, but like you're living with like anxiety and just like all the negative feelings all the time? Or to be in a relationship where, man, like you guys are just really like complete one another in the sense that you are helping to recharge each other's batteries so that you can do more and be more effective together as a unit. That's up to you to decide. However, using that metaphor of the batteries, let's say if you're working on recharging your batteries and let's say your partner is like here on that red zone, like that 10%, and is okay being at 10% and wants to stay at 10%, and you're like, I'm recharging. There's misalignment.
Let's think of a different example, because battery is a going down kind of thing or going up kind of thing. But let's say...
I have another analogy.
Okay.
Radio station. So this will sound like a little metaphysical, and this is like taken from like The Secret or like the law of attraction, but like depending on, we all carry a state of being in this very moment. So the state of being in which we're in is a frequency. So let's say you want to listen to your favorite radio channel, and let's say it is 92.3. But your partner is cruising on 69.9. Like
hashtag I'm 12.
You're not gonna be able to listen to whatever you want to because the frequencies are different. In order for you to be able to listen to that radio station, you have to be on that same frequency.
Which one? 69.9?
No, 92.3, baby.
69.9? Say it. Hashtag what?
69.69.
Hashtag what? I'm 12. Okay. I have another analogy.
Okay.
Now you are with your significant other or insignificant other if they're a real asshole. You're with your significant other, partner, spouse, person, mate, whatever you want to call it. And you guys are attached by a bungee cord. Can you lean back?
Yes.
That light always, I feel shaded,
sorry.
and I can't, I feel disconnected. You're attached by a bungee cord, and you're both going to go on a hike. But one of you is like, yeah, you get to the mountain, and you're like, I don't really want to do this. I'm going to stay down here. And then you're like, well, shit, like, I want to go to the top. So the bungee will only stretch so far before you have two choices. You unhook that shit and you snap it right on him. Or you just keep fighting it. Ooh.
My brother is in the house, you guys. Can we give him a shout out?
Oh, Shaka, what's up, my brother? Wait.
We're talking about the bungee.
Yeah. Bungee Kapara. Welcome to the show. So you either you let it go or break it, or you just keep staying stuck. You're like, I'm gonna get it. Right? Like, you cannot get anywhere. You have two choices. Or you gotta use your persuasion skills to get that person to come with you. And if they are unwilling, that's when you have two choices.
Yeah. So you have to be on the same page. And you have, in order for you to be on the same page, you have to be in a similar state. But let's talk about the conflict. What if we're not on the same page right now? Like, what's going to happen? What are the consequences? Where are we going to go from here? Again, our intention is to add value to you. So, who has ever been in a relationship, currently, depending on the type of relationship you're in, you could be feeling it right now too, but who has ever been in a relationship that has caused you resentment? Can we define the word resentment?
We've had resentment in our relationship.
Yes.
But it hasn't ended. It's not going to end that way. It's going to be resolved.
Yes.
To resent.
We're going to talk about that in just a second.
Bitter indignation and at having been treated unfairly.
You guys, the feeling of resentment, how does that feel?
Anger, annoyance provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment. That's what indignation means.
I don't know about you guys, but when I'm resentful towards someone, for one, I have to speak up immediately, with the hopes that through my communication, we can both get on the same level of frequency. Now, let's say I speak up and the same act continues, then guess what? You're gonna be cut from my life immediately. My tolerance level is ridiculously low because I've made a commitment to myself. And by the way, this is the importance. I love it that he's still watching. I lost my train of thought, but this is the importance of gaining confidence and why you have to work on you first. Because sometimes you could be in a beautiful relationship, and we can talk about our, we had one moment of resentment in our relationship, and we spoke up about it immediately, and ever since then, it changed. However, in my previous relationship, that was not the case. And that's when I knew that regardless of how I feel right now, it's time to cut it. But I remember that because I was just getting on the right path, it took me 6 months of therapy while getting on the right path in order to be able to have the guts to speak up. Because I don't know about you guys, but who likes being cheated on?
While they're answering that question, can I say something?
Let me just close this out real quick. Nobody likes to be cheated on. It's one of the lowest feelings ever. But when you're feeling resentment, and if you don't speak up, then you're cheating on you. And that's why nobody should have a tolerance for somebody who resents them after they speak up. This is my opinion from my own life experience. Because if you do, if you keep tolerating that same person who made you feel resentment after you've spoken up and they have not shown to change their act, then guess what? Actions will always speak louder than words. It just means that it's time to fucking cut it. And that's why it is your duty and obligation to take care of you. Learn how to take care of you by treating your body right.
Respect.
So that you can speak up for you. Because sometimes in life, people, even those who claim to love you, are going to hurt you. However, actions speak louder than words. And if you don't know how to take care of you, then shit. Your life is going to be miserable and you're going to be living with resentment. Okay, go.
I wrote it down this time.
Good.
First of all, I think that a certain degree of resentment happens in every relationship at some point in time, no matter what.
Right.
And it's your ability or lack of thereof. I'll always think about it. To communicate with that person, like Sarit's talking about. If I don't say it right away, I know for anybody, probably it eats you on the inside if you don't speak up about it. But then we get into this idea of ownership. If you feel resentment, it is equally as much your fault for not speaking up as it is the other person's fault for doing whatever they did. Because also it could be a miscommunication. It could be a misinterpretation. It could be an assumption of something.
Yes.
And if you don't speak up, and I would caution you as well, when you speak up about something that is hurting you or making you feel a way that is perceived as negative because of something you believe was done by your partner, to approach them in a very neutral manner to say, hey, I'm not sure what this is, but these are my feelings. All I want to do is just like have an open conversation about it to make sure we're on the same page. Versus, hey, you fuckbag, why did you do X, Y, Z to me? Those are two very different ways to approach the same situation. And it's important for us to take responsibility to not just jump into assumptions or conclusions without having all of the information as well. And that's something that we've really learned too, is like, hey, but what can I own that maybe I did? And I want to see this from your perspective so that I understand you. And I also want to ask that maybe you can see it from my perspective so that we can understand one another. And I think that a lot of relationships go down the drain simply because we communicate as though because of you, you did this. Why did you do that? You made me feel this way, without considering the other person's position. So if you feel resentment, question yourself along the same lines. Have I done something that caused them to do the thing that is making me feel this way? And then just to have that ownership. And when you come from that place of true, genuine care and concern for the quality and well-being of your relationship with one another, things go a lot smoother. This was a little blurb on communication and has nothing but everything to do with the topic today.
No, it does. It does, actually. It's a part of the action steps.
Communication and relationships is part of every relationship conversation.
Communication is the most powerful tool for any kind of relationship, be it with a significant other, be it your friends, be it your coworkers, be it your team.
Them bitches never restock these motherfucking shelves. I'm mad. And then you don't say anything, so the storm brews, like in the Gulf of Mexico. Wait. The storm brews. And it brews. And it brews. And nobody knows yet. Nobody knows. But that tornado, y'all in Texas, or hurricane, or what, I don't know, is brewing. And nobody can see it until it busts down all the houses and just the top blows off. You left a fucking sock on the floor, oh my God. But really, it's not the sock. It's all the other things that happen that you just never said anything about.
Communication is what makes humans the most powerful species. Communication is what will allow you to improve everything that you want in life. Be it your career, be it whatever goal you're working on. Why? So, like, for all of my inner circle people, one of the reasons why you guys are so successful is because you communicate with your coach on a daily basis. And if you don't, and if you're hiding, you're going to be called out for it. Because...
Or you should be.
Yes. Because communication, for one, shows that you're in action. If you're on a quest to achieving a goal. Also, only through other people you will be able to achieve what you want. So if you need help with something and you don't seek out any help,
okay, so
you're gonna try to keep on figuring it out, but you're gonna be wasting your time and you're going to waste your energy. And if you want to be successful with anything in life, for one, you have to speak up about it. And for two, you have to communicate about it on a regular basis with regards to anything in life. Anything that you want in life can be achieved through communication, but it is your frequency of communication and it is your effectiveness within communication that will allow you to be successful. Stephanie, I know you're going to reach out to me today.
Look at him lay upon Mama's shoulder.
So for example, if you going back to what Erin was talking about, if you have a problem, let's say you're in a relationship or you're on a quest to achieve something, but you never talk about it with your significant other, for one, there's no way in hell you guys are going to be on the same page. For two, if you're not on the same page, it's going to be a lot less possible for them to be supportive. And that's why if you've worked with me and you're in a relationship, I always tell you to run your goals by your significant other so that they can get on the same page. And if you don't even know how to talk to your significant other, then I tell you that you need to cut it, which sounds very harsh. But if you have no communication, then you have no support, which means that you have resentment, and why waste the time and energy? It sounds really harsh, but you know, people always talk about, I want to see results fast. I'm like, okay, do hard things.
I think that a lot of times too, people feel obligated to be in a relationship that they're in because they've been in it for X amount of time, that they're going to feel like they're, for one, hurting somebody's feelings if they break it off, or that they themselves are going to be uncomfortable hurting somebody else's feelings. And it's not about the other person's feelings. It's about you actually just feeling uncomfortable. Okay. But sometimes, like, the first question you have to ask yourself if you have some kind of disagreement or dispute in a relationship is it worth salvaging? If you don't even want to have the conversation, it's because that person isn't worth it to you. If you don't even want to make it work, that's not your person. Because if you truly, truly loved deep down in your core, not just had like admirations or infatuation, you would truly want to have a conversation with that person because you love them and you want to make it work. If you're not wanting to even have that conversation, consider whether or not that person is worth it to you. And if they are not willing to have that conversation, accept the hard truth that you may not be worth it to them. But that doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you unlovable. That doesn't make you insignificant or that you don't matter. That means that you're just not the right people. Wow. You are so cute.
Did Finn fart?
Not him yawn.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the first thing is consider, do I even want to have this conversation?
No.
Does Sarit not go to the bathroom first because she doesn't want to be late?
No, you know what it is?
I thought about that yesterday.
Maybe. It's because this is my second cup of coffee. So by the time I talk to you guys, like, I have to pee. Somebody asked a question that I want to answer. And by the way, this is for all my one-on-one clients. This is why I tell you guys, and it's a part of your targets, whether you're working with me or with Lauren, to Voxer us every single day. Because here's why. If you have a hard time communicating with someone when shit is good, then there's no way in hell you're going to communicate with someone when shit is bad.
Amen.
So it's actually a communication habit that we're teaching you without even you realizing. Because who wants to speak up if you're not used to speaking up about your wins or just like mundane shit? How are you going to be talking about complicated things? You'll want to hide. So there's no way in hell you're going to be successful if you have a hard time discussing problems. And I feel like a lot of women do, because we have this thing. Most women, I used to be one of them, definitely not anymore, that because we're caregivers, we have this thing that we try to figure everything out on our own, which is one of the worst traits that you can ever have. You've been failing for 10 years and you still want to do it on your own. Bitch, that's why you're unsuccessful.
When we say bitch like that in that context,
it's because I want to shake you.
It's the verbal shaking.
Yes. Yes. Stop trying to figure shit out on your own.
These are also things we definitely have had to say to ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is exactly why I feel okay calling you guys out, because I used to be that person. I used to have a hard time speaking up. I used to be uncomfortable speaking about problems, but now I don't give a shit. Why? Because for one, I'm going up. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to go up because I made that decision. For two, in order for me to go up, you have to go up with me. Now, if you're okay being okay or going down, that's fine. But you're not going to be in my life because I ain't got time for that. And that's not to toot my horn. It's just like to share with you guys life experiences so that you can apply it within your own life. I feel like sometimes like people who have just like complicated relationships, I'm like, you're wasting your time and you're making it be such like a big story. I'm like, it's really not a big deal. Just get the fuck over it. Get the fuck over it.
Cut the tie. Figure it out or cut the tie.
Yeah. Like, if you want to live a big life, then getting rid of a negative person is something really small, because you're going to have way bigger problems in front of you need to overcome. And if you have a hard time overcoming a small problem, then you're not going to be able to overcome big problems. To be successful, you have to be an incredible problem solver. And how are you going to be able to solve problems if you can't communicate about it?
And how many times do we make a small problem actually seem like a big problem?
And it's because we have all these stories running through our own head instead of speaking up about it. So it gets magnified. It's the example that you use with when you put like the mug somewhere on the counter, and it's like that person like flips out just because you put the mug like somewhere on the counter.
It's not about the mug.
It's not about the mug. It's about all the shit that you've been keeping up inside you. You guys, if you have any questions, please drop them right now. But somebody had a pretty good question, and I do want to answer it.
Today's not Q&A day.
It's not Q&A day.
And we don't always see all the comments, but
there was a good...
If something pops up, catches our eye. I actually sometimes don't even look at the comments because they distract me.
Yeah.
And when I'm in church...
Man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Somebody asked a specific question, and it was a good question.
Well, you know what the question is about if you're looking for it.
I think it was just way up.
All right.
And
well, let's move on, scrolly fingers.
Okay, so look, the consequences of you not being on the same page is that you're going to be resentful. You're going to have built up anger. And also, you're going to have a shitty ass relationship.
And you're not going to get to where you want to be.
You're going to be dissatisfied. You're going to be dissatisfied. Like, why be in a relationship if you're going to be dissatisfied?
Good question. That's a good question.
Like who says to themselves, "Oh, I want to be in a relationship so that I will be unsatisfied." But if you think about it, how many people are so unsatisfied in their own relationship? that's because of you. Now, sometimes you can say, but what if I've been constantly communicating about it and they haven't changed their act? Then there you go.
Either communicate it differently, and if you can't figure out a way, then maybe it's just not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult when you have a heart. You don't want to let somebody down or make somebody feel like they're not worthy of something in the moment, that being you. And so it's difficult in relationships because you're dealing with somebody else's emotions and feelings. However, you also have to understand that at the end of the day, our emotions and our reactions to things that happen in life are up to us. If somebody's feelings are hurt by you bringing something up to them, that's on them. But the delivery that is used also matters. Can we get him to stop?
Boogie.
The delivery.
Boogie.
The delivery that's used matters because you can damage somebody with your words, and then somebody else can damage themselves from your words, even if well-intended. So that's why I think we have this fear too. And I'm not telling anybody go break up with somebody right now. I'm saying first figure out, do you want to make it work? Is it worth the conversation? Great. If so, do it. If not, then figure out how to get out sooner than later. Because people hang on. And the longer you hang on to something you know isn't right, the harder it becomes to then let go. Just making it harder on yourself. But when you deliver something to somebody, I don't want to be with you because you're a sack of shit and I'm over it. You're lazy, you're dumb, you're boring, you're stupid, whatever. I'm out. That can be damaging to somebody's character because you're directly insulting them. Mm-hmm. If you say, hey, I realize we're on different pages and we've been on different pages for quite some time. It doesn't seem like we're going the same direction. I think it would be better for both of us in the long term if we just weren't together. That's very different. The only way their character could be damaged is if they then tell themselves the stories that it's because you think they're dumb and stupid and boring and whatever else I said. I don't know. But you have to understand that if you come from a place of love, people's feelings then are just, it's determined by them.
So I want to mention a couple of things. Sometimes, and then I want to go off of Christina Marie's thing because that's...
The divorce with the kids?
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought about that too.
So going back to that same conversation, for sometimes... that conversation too can actually be a heroic act. Let's say if you're a go-getter and your significant other is average, not to sound harsh, but just the truth.
Well, if they're average and you don't want to be average.
Chances are that they could be average too because who they've been influenced by in the past are just average, mediocre people. Now that doesn't mean that they won't want to change. Maybe they do, but they just don't know how to. And
it doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad or wrong.
Yes.
Average doesn't mean bad. Let's clarify.
Yes.
When we say average, it's because nothing about us is average, nothing about our community do we want to be average. We want to exceed an average expectation to achieve extraordinary.
Yes.
There's nothing ordinary about this community.
But sometimes people who may have a better potential and who may actually want to be better might be stuck in a rut simply because they don't know what to do. And that is why you have to speak up because for one, you don't know how that can just fuel them up. So you have to ask them challenging questions. Like, going back to what you're saying, like, hey, I've noticed that I want this and that out of my life. And I'm noticing that, I'm doing X, Y, and Z and you're doing A, B, C. have you ever thought, like, where do you want to be from, like, 5 years from now? Just like when you open up a conversation, you make people think. And I think this is the power of this show too. Like, you know, before you started listening to us, you were probably like, I wanted to hear things like that, but I was never challenged to think that way. And now that I'm challenged to think that way, I've been able to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And it could be the same thing for them. In my opinion, I believe that most people do want to get better. But a lot of people don't know how. And as John Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. So you have to be the leader of the household, and you have to ask them challenging questions. Now, if through the challenging questions, it seems as if, like, you know, I'm just really good, you know, just watching Netflix and just like chilling and smoking weed. I'm not saying that smoking weed is bad. Like, you guys can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't affect your effectiveness as a human being. Like, if you're just lazy and you're okay being lazy, then hey, then there's no hope for you. And if you're sticking around with somebody who's lazy, that's like you keeping junk food in your kitchen. It's just like, it's not a line. Therefore, just like I would tell you, like, toss the fries in the burger, toss the junk that's laying on the couch. That's simple.
200 pounds.
You know, to go back to what Christina Marie said. So Christina said, I would totally get a divorce, but there's kids involved. So for one,
she said it's hard with the kids. I want a divorce so bad.
So for one, I'm not a parent. But for two, I've seen my parents' relationship, which I love them so much, but I truly believe that due to the fact that neither of them has spoken up because of their own limiting beliefs, they grew apart, and it only kept on magnifying. And being the child of a relationship like that, from my own standpoint and from my brother's own standpoint, because we've discussed it many, many times, our goal is to have the exact opposite relationship from our parents. Your kids, and I'm saying it from the kid's standpoint, will care about seeing you happy more than they will care about seeing you divorced. Yes, maybe in the moment it will hurt them, but in the long term, in the long run, they will want to see you being happy. Because when you see your parent being upset, when your parent always keeps on just complaining, when your parent is unhappy, how does that make you feel as a grown-up child? Mm-hmm. It makes you feel like shit. However,
I would say consider. I mean, you know, because you lived it. And my parents too spoke with my mom yesterday, and she's like, I watched the show, and I was like,
your mom watched the show?
Yeah, what would I say? What did I say? For one, I love my family very much, and I'm grateful for them always being there for me. They were always there for me. But my parents, like so many parents, would argue, and voices would be raised, and doors would be slammed, and feet would be stomped, and dishes would be aggressively put into the dishwasher. And, you know, I watched that happen. And if my parents watch this, like, I hope they know where I'm coming from. But like, I, at one point, what through my child mind was, I want them to get a divorce, because I hated seeing that happen so often. And I would get mad, so I would go and slam a door so that they knew I was frustrated with that behavior. I don't know if they got the point, but it made me feel better. And it's really hard for a kid to see their parents be unhappy like that. And so I think I learned the same thing. My parents are still together, and I believe doing great. And I don't know what all of the tension was about, but I know that my mom doesn't know how to speak up. She whispers under her breath, and then my dad would get mad about it. What'd you say? So the communication is a crazy huge component. But if we're talking about doing this or that for the benefit of the kids, put yourself in the kids' shoes. What would they rather experience? Mm-hmm. And now there's also somebody in our circle who is separated from her husband, and she has a child, and the child believes that everything is her
fault. There's a few actually.
And it's yeah. And it's really hurtful to the parent to feel like the kid thinks that it's their fault when they're doing the right thing. But what I thought about was, if one parent is persuasive to that child to say, I'm the good one, they're the bad one, chances are the persuasive parent, not the one who's letting the child be open-minded, the one who's trying to persuade a child one way or another, is where things get sticky, because the persuader is probably the one that is at fault, more likely than not.
And a couple of things, and then I want to go back to what Christina Marie's saying, because this is really important. And again, our intention is to add nothing but value to you guys. I think that kids in the moment, because most kids are not yet taught discipline, especially in today's day and age. Most parents, in my opinion, especially American parents, are pretty soft. 21st century parents. I think that our parents were a lot harsher than than moms our age. They're scared to scream at not to scream.
People poo-poo when they spank their kids.
Yeah.
I got spanked, and I'm not even mad about it. I'm like, I probably deserve that shit. And when my kid acts up, guess what? When Sergeant does something that is way out of line, I flick him right in the nose. Boom.
Yeah. I used to,
because I'm not gonna do that shit again if that's what happens.
I used to have shoes thrown at me.
It's a healthy fear, I would say.
Yes.
It's a healthy fear, and it's not to abuse. It's to shock. It's to shock. If you get whooped on your ass, did you die? No. But what happened was, oh shit. When that happened, oh shit. When that happens, you're like, I'm not going to do that again. That shit hurt.
Yeah. When I had shoes come flying at me as my brother was punching me, shit.
I'm not going to punch my kid in the face.
No, he never punched me.
What I'm saying is when we have kids, we will have kids. It's going to be amazing. I'm not going to punch him in the face and be like, you're a little asshole. Boom.
Right.
I'm going to be in the moment, right when they did it, if I can catch them and teach them something, if action is appropriate, I'm going to take action. I'm not going to abuse them. And I'm going to let them know for sure too, look, I love you. Here's why this happened. Let's learn from it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna get a little stick on the booty. Because it worked for me.
Yeah.
Don't judge me if you see me swat my kid in the booty.
So I think that, going back to what I was saying, I think that because most kids today are not being disciplined, they're just fully being distracted.
That's why we have so much entitlement.
Yes, they're more likely to go based off of instant gratification, especially let's say if the parents get a divorce and one parent just keeps on buying them gifts but is a total asshole. The kid is for some period of time is going to be jaded by the shiny objects, but that doesn't mean that when they turn 16 and 18 and they start learning a little bit more about life, they're not going to realize, oh shit, this is what's going on. So
when they get older though, they'll appreciate it.
Yes.
I remember one time I told my mom I hated her. And then I grew up and I was like, thank you for dealing with all of my bullshit as a child. Eventually they'll grow up and they'll understand if you do it with love.
And the second thing too, let's say if parents were to, I'm just putting myself in the shoes of, let's say, parents who are to get a divorce and they already have kids. I will just have a family conversation like, hey, mom and dad, mom and mom, whatever it is, are deciding that we've come to the realization that we are not helping one another to grow. And then we put it in their shoes. Mm-hmm. Like, how would you feel if you were to stop growing right now? Would you be sad? And they'll probably say, yeah. Like, when a child turns 2, they want to be 6. As soon as they hit 6, they want to be 10. How old are you? I always say, I want to be 10.
They're 13, and then they're 16, and then they're 18. I'm an adult, and then they're 21. I can drink.
So you put it in their shoes, and you say, how would you feel if you were to stop growing right now? And they'll probably say, very sad. Exactly. Mom and dad love each other, but they realize that together they're not helping one another to grow. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we've decided that it would be best for both of us to separate. But we want you to know that because mom and dad or mom and mom love you very much.
Or dad and dad.
Yeah. Because we love you very much, we're going to make sure to spend time with you either way. So it's all about communication and how you deliver bad news. And again, most people have not worked on themselves enough because they have not invested in themselves enough to develop their communication skills. So, divorces ended up being really shitty and really angry. And then, I'm telling you this from my own experience. When the kids grow up, the children will always appreciate seeing their parents happy. Yeah. Like, seeing your parents get old and knowing that they're not fulfilling their life and also like degenerate is the saddest thing. So, in my opinion, like, you shouldn't walk away from an argument anymore and not speak up. You're only creating a life of misery. It's only going to get worse as you age. Mm-hmm. Because the older you are, the less opportunities you have because the less time you have on your hands. Mm-hmm. Now, yes, if you want to start over your life at 60, I'm not saying that you can't. You absolutely can. I mean, look at Colonel Saunders. Anything in life
What's his name?
Colonel Saunders.
We're gonna have a repeat after me.
Okay.
Colonel.
Oh, Colonel Saunders.
I don't know why it's spelled with an L. That doesn't make any sense. Whoever made that up.
But anything is possible. But if you let an open wound just like get bigger and bigger, it's only gonna be more painful. It's only gonna get more infected. It's only gonna get worse. So challenge yourself. 10 years from now, how will that affect me? 10 years from now, how will that affect me? We've said this before too. Whenever we have to make any big life decision, we don't make decisions based on the emotion that we have right now. We make a calculated decision based off of how is it in alignment with where we want to be 20 years from now.
And it's a balance between emotion and logic.
Yes. Absolutely. Because if you're like, I'm so scared right now. Okay, 20 years from now, you're going to be even more scared and you're going to be even more miserable. And there's no way in hell that you're going to take any action. So it's on you. So
who loves how Sarit talks? I swear the English language makes it really difficult for people who don't speak English as a first language. Who decided vacuum needed 2 U's? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Is it 2 U's or 2 M's?
2 U's. Yeah, V-A-C-U-U-M. It doesn't make any sense at all.
So, you gotta be courageous and you gotta have a conversation. And that's that.
I would think it would be pronounced vacuum.
Vacuum.
Vacuum. I'm gonna call it a vacuum from now on. We need to vacuum this room. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. If you found value, please subscribe, hit the notification, share it with somebody, leave us a review, whatever you can to help spread the love. We will continue showing up for you guys. It's actually very fun for us, and it's really cool when we get to engage with you all. So if you're listening to this on a podcast Or if you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere else, we do this live every Monday through Friday. Check it out. Monday through Thursday, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. Easy peasy. Fridays, 6 a.m. interviews. Most of the time. Most weeks. Occasionally there's one or two where we're like out of town or something.
Yeah.
But you can watch it live. And it's fun.
Speaking of which, tomorrow we do have a live guest interview, and it's going to be our first live in person.
Why did you tell them in person? That would have been a cool surprise.
It would have, but here's the thing. Because it's going to be in person,
Zoom.
we're going to make it on Facebook, not on Zoom. So you guys, all you got to do is do what you do every single morning.
At 6.
Because it's going to be live and in person, and we're going to be talking about how to evolve from life.
Are we going to talk about who it's with?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Her name is Emily Abbott, and she's a CrossFit Games athlete. So she's actually going to be here because she's rolling around in San Diego. And so we've invited her over, and we're actually going to have a little trio. We're going to figure out how to set something up, and we're going to drink some coffee, and we're going to have a nice little in-person live conversation for y'all. It's going to be cool.
Yeah. She's going to add a lot of value and wisdom with regards to life, because we're going to be talking about so much more than just fitness and athletics, and actually overcoming
Adversity.
a lot of adversity in public.
Public adversity, where like hundreds of thousands of people know something, maybe out of context,
Maybe
and created
not.
adversity.
Yeah, and created a story based off of that. How do you respond to something like that? How do you evolve? And how do you overcome it?
Yep. Cool. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to see you mañana, and we love you. Have a great day. Go crush it. We are over the hump. Let's go.